Hi there, it's Dennis with you again for Cemetery Saturdays. Today we're in Thamesville at the Mount Pleasant Mayhew Cemetery, just to give you some history about what we have here. The history of Thamesville, where we are right now, standing on the northern side of Thamesville, includes actually 4 cemeteries. We're here today at the Mayhew Mount Pleasant. Next to Mount Pleasant and Mayhew is the St. Paul's Cemetery, but historically there was is a 4th cemetery, the Sherman Cemetery. Now, the history of Thamesville is such that it goes back to the time of the previous centuries, just before the War of 1812. There were 2 town sites here, Thamesville and as well a town called Tecumseh, closer to the Thames River. It was quite a bustling community, but what happened after the War of 1812, the railway came through, and the town site actually moved closer to the rail because of shipment of goods back and forth through from Toronto to London to Windsor, whereas before it was all based on the river where the Sherman Cemetery was. There was a gentleman by the name of Mayhew, the Mayhew family, Frederick J. Mayhew, FJ. He was quite an entrepreneur. He owned a hotel, he owned the bank, he owned a general store, and Mr. Mayhew decided that there should be a place for his family to have a permanent resting place. So in behind me here is the cemetery that Mr. Mayhew put together and began as his family cemetery, and over the years it expanded. The Mayhews actually started interring their family members in about the years of the 1870s, around 1875, and it has been used as a cemetery ever since then. So that is that part of the cemetery and the area that we are looking at today. We're now in the area of the Mount Pleasant Mayhew Cemetery that is known as the Mount Pleasant section. It was originally an area of land that was owned by 2 gentlemen back at the turn of the last century in the early 1900s, Mr. Graves and a Mr. O'Neill. And they wanted to have an area for burials for their family, but as well they sold plots in this section of the cemetery. Mr. Graves, after a number of years, got an offer from Mr. O'Neill to buy out. Mr. O'Neill bought out Mr. Graves's area of this part of the cemetery, and it became known for a number of years as the O'Neill Cemetery. After Mr. O'Neill passed on and other family members made a decision, the name was changed to Mount Pleasant. And in the mid-1950s, the O'Neill Cemetery, that became known as the Mount Pleasant Cemetery, amalgamated with the Mayhew Cemetery that we've already talked about, and this whole area is one plot of land extending from here straight through to the St. Paul's Cemetery that is under the auspices of the Catholic Church. This then is the area for burials and remembrance for the people of Thamesville and surrounding area, and it's just a wonderful resting spot out here in this beautiful Chatham-Kent farmland.